Good evening and welcome to the City of Woodstock's virtual public planning meeting for Monday, May 17th, 2021. Tonight's meeting is an open public meeting as required by the Planning Act. This meeting is being live streamed to the city's YouTube channel, and a recording of the meeting will also be posted on the city's website following the meeting. An agenda of this meeting can be found on the Agendas, Meetings, and Minutes page of the city's website under the Inside City Hall heading on the cityofwoodstock.ca homepage. Present here tonight are members of City Council, Deputy City Clerk Alicia Dijak, City Engineer, Building Official Craig Wallace, and Oxford County Senior Planner Andrea Hackler, and of course a number of applicants as well. This public meeting is for information discussion purposes only. No decisions will be made this evening. Council will make a decision on these matters at the regular council meeting to be held on Thursday, May 20th at 1:30 in the afternoon. If you wish to address council at that meeting as well, you must submit a delegation form to the city clerk no later than 2 p.m. on Tuesday, that being tomorrow. The delegation form is available on the city's website. Due to the nature of a public meeting, the public has been asked to submit a request to speak in advance to allow for pre-meeting tests with the IT department. Those wishing to make a presentation join the meeting via Zoom, while those wishing to provide comments or answer questions only are also allowed to call just via telephone. When recognized by the chair to speak, you must provide your name and address for the public record before giving comments. And of course, it's also very important for the minutes when they're posted. Only the applicant or people who provide oral or written comments regarding the application are entitled to appeal the council's decision to the local planning appeal tribunal. Please keep your comments to planning matters only and avoid repeating comments that have already been expressed. If you have not provided oral or written comments but wish to receive formal notice of the council's decision on the matter, please contact the clerk's department. The notice will provide further information on appealing the decision. And I've mentioned it at other times when I've chaired these meetings before that if you'd like to make a comment but would not like to appear on Zoom or even appear via telephone, you can certainly submit a letter in writing to the clerk's office, and it can even be read into the minutes via Zoom or through our meetings. The county's planner will be asked to present the planning report for each application. There's 4 of them tonight. City council members may ask questions then to the planner. The applicant or representatives of the applicant will then be provided an opportunity to make comments, followed by those wishing to speak in favor of the application, and then followed by those wishing to speak in opposition of the application. Prior to proceeding with the first application, does anyone wish to declare any pecuniary interest on any items that are on tonight's agenda from any members of City Council? Don't believe there were any tonight. So as I mentioned before, there are 4 items on the agenda. The first one is ZN 8-20-02, an application for a zone change, southeast corner of Springbank Ave and Parkinson Road. Might be familiar to some people if you've followed our agendas previously, as we go to our senior planner, Andrea Hackler, to talk about this application. Go ahead, Andrea.
Thank you. So the first application for zone change tonight is for lands located on the southeast corner of Parkinson Road and Springbank Avenue. And this is a supplementary report. Council may recall, and I'll try to give a little bit of an explanation for Councillor Petter's benefit because he wasn't present at the last meeting. But basically what the applicant is proposing is to rezone the subject property to allow for a retail building supply establishment. And I'll just scroll down to the site plan. So you can see they're proposing a building here, and then this would be outdoor storage for basically for a lumber yard. And so the last meeting, we brought the application forward. However, we noticed that they also needed relief from the zoning to increase the overall open storage coverage from 40% to 50% of the lot area. So we're just simply bringing the application back. We're increasing the coverage for the open storage. Staff are supportive of that proposal to increase the open storage. We don't feel that it'll have an impact on the property or any of the surrounding neighborhood. Currently, the site is being used for truck parking and storage, and so I don't think that it would be much different to allow for that. And so the underlying designation is for business park, and the business park policies allow for a mix of lighter industrial type uses as well as service commercial type uses. And so we felt that the building supply retail establishment would be ideally suited for this property. There's a number of other mixed type uses in the area as well. And then there's residential on the north side of Parkinson. And so this would act as a bit of a buffer too from those heavier industrial type uses on the south side of this property. Sorry, I guess it's not part of that property anymore, but the larger lands that surround this, that these lands were once severed from. The application was circulated to staff. Staff are supportive of the application, and we feel that, again, it's a good use for the land. And so in light of that, we'd recommend that the application be approved.
Thanks a lot to Andrea Hackler for her report. Or is any members from council who have any questions or concerns or comments they'd like to make to our senior planner at this point in time? Seeing none at this point in time, we can invite our two delegations on board for this item, the first item on our agenda here tonight. One delegation member is Andrew Phillips. When you come on and talk to you, give us your name and address and what your role is. And of course, delegation Jamie Adams as well. He may want to introduce himself and give us his address as well. And anything you'd like to add, sir, in your opinion of the report that Andrea Hackler gave us.
Thank you. So my name's Andrew Phillips, and I'm legal counsel to the applicant. My address is 56 Albert Street in Stratford. And we're just here to answer any questions or deal with any concerns that anybody might have about the application.
And I will jump on here. I am Jamie Adams of 845077 Bremar Side Road. I am the owner of the property, and my company is looking to build the building supply establishment on it. So again, just here if there's any further questions, and thank you for the opportunity.
Are there any questions or concerns or comments from city council members that they'd like to make to our delegation here this evening? Mr. Phillips and Mr. Adams. Seeing none at this point in time, I'd like to see if there's anybody who is registered to speak specifically against the application here tonight. Anybody who's registered or online to speak against the application? Didn't appear to be any. Calling any applicants or delegations that are online here tonight to speak in favor of the applications. If there are anyone that wants to speak in favor of the application, now is your chance to be on the record and speak. And of course, I didn't believe anybody had registered on either side for this item on our agenda. So that ends it for agenda item number 1. And of course, no decision will be made here. City Council meeting is on Thursday afternoon at 1:30, May the 20th. And it's at that point in time that the City Council will make a decision on this item on the agenda. Item number 2 is B21-02-8. It's an application for consent. The address is 1200 Dundas Street in Woodstock. The applicant is Urban Cliff Developments, Inc. And there will be a delegation here as well for this one. But first of all, we hear from our senior planner, Andrea Hackler, to describe B21-02-8. Go ahead, Andrea.
Thank you. So this application for severance is to create a vacant commercial lot. Oh, I apologize. I didn't share my screen here. So it's to create a commercial lot as well as establish a number of easements that are for access purposes. And the plate that we have before us shows the various accesses. And so basically from an access and parking perspective, the properties will likely overlap and have some sort of shared uses there, and likely act, and I mean, the applicants can speak to it shortly, but likely act as a single property from that perspective. And so I want to apologize to council. I noticed that the report that was sent to council appears to be missing much of the proposal. And so I will remedy that within the next day. And so for the actual council agenda on Thursday night, we'll make sure that we have that full description of the proposal. But basically, you can get a general understanding of what the applicant's proposing. They're proposing to create a commercial parcel, and then they're creating these easements for access purposes. If council may recall, back, I believe it was in January 2020, we brought an application forward, or a number of applications forward for these lands. They're for an official plan amendment and a zone change. And these lands along fronting along Dundas were designated for service commercial purposes. So the applicant will be pursuing service commercial type uses on these lands. And so we feel that it's in keeping with obviously the official plan policies. The zoning is highway commercial zone C4. And so the proposed lot to be severed and retained are in keeping with the provisions of the C4 zoning. The staff are satisfied with that. A number of comments were received from the city engineering department, and they are included as conditions of approval. So we were able to address those comments. The application was circulated to the public, and we did not receive any objections or concerns from the public. And so generally staff are supportive of the application. We feel that that severing the parcel will not affect the flexibility of the property. They'll be able to, each lot is largely sized or adequately sized to accommodate any sort of future commercial development. And we are supportive of the easements as they will allow for access across the sites. And generally speaking, we recommend favorable consideration for this application subject to the conditions that have been included.
We thank Andrea Heckler for her report. Or any comments or questions from members of council at this point in time for our senior planner? Go ahead, Mr. Petter. Councillor Todd Petter.
All right, I'm just really trying to figure out how to do this. So if you're hearing me, that's good. If you're seeing me, that's good. Andrea, just one quick question, and I probably should know this from the minutes, but I don't really have them in front of me because I'm struggling. Does this create any more access off of Dundas or Beards Lane? Are any more roads gonna go off of those?
I'll actually, or sorry, through Councillor Schattenberg to Councillor Petter's question, I actually am going to let Mr. McCauley speak to that, and he can describe the access and the easements probably better than I can.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you for the question. Through the chair to the councillor. From my understanding, there is no additional access points added to this site as there were with the previous application for consent that was before you previously. On our site specifically, there is one access point off of Beards Lane and one access point off of Dundas.
Should mention as chair that Ben McCauley is with Zelenka Priamo, a planner. Where's your office, Ben? If you can get that for the record, then.
Yep,
London?
318 Wellington Road, London, Ontario.
Just wanted to make sure we had that correct in the minutes. Or any other further questions, I guess, for our senior planner, Andrea Hackler? At this point, Ben McCauley's on board from Zelenka Preammo. Any questions for him as well? Does it create any, I got, I guess, a question for you, I guess, Ben. Does it create any, I'm not sure what the exact word is to use, so maybe I won't say a word. When Dundas Street is 4 lanes, there is a bit of a divided highway already once you get past Lansdowne Avenue. Does that create any difficulty as far as accessing what could be a nice little retail plaza, whatever the future uses might be for it, just to sort of gain access to it? Is the Ministry of Transportation, for example, going to say you can't have a crossover there?
We are not proposing to change any of the medians that are existing. If there has to be a right in, right out access only onto Dundas, then that's the situation we have to abide by.
Any other further questions from members of council? Don't mind standing for anybody if they didn't recognize 1200 Dundas Street on the map that Andrew Hackler showed. That is the former Firestone property with possible uses in front of the former Firestone building with access to Dundas Street, as we saw in the photos and maps. At this point in time, I'd like to ask if there's any delegations who have registered to specifically speak against this proposal. Anyone online to speak against the proposal? Didn't believe so. Anyone online here to speak in favor of the proposal this time? And as I've mentioned previously, if you'd like to speak or make a comment or anything like that, or don't want to speak, but want to make sure you get comments on something that's on our planning agenda, by all means, write us a letter and make sure it gets to our city clerk to be able to, I see Councilor Jerry Accioni's there. Jerry, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair, if you don't mind, I actually just got a message on social media. Obviously, people watching this right now, or knew it was coming on anyways. I shouldn't assume they're watching it. Is anything public yet of any planned businesses being in that location that could be shared with the public?
Absolutely.
Is the question I'm being asked. Yeah.
Through the chair, through the application process, we did submit a conceptual site plan of the intended use on the site. And at this time, it's intended to be a car wash.
Car wash. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Councilor Accioni. As I mentioned before, there are no decisions made at this meeting here tonight, but council is on Thursday afternoon at 1:30. Thursday, May the 20th is our next meeting. And we got 2 of the 4 application items already in the books here for tonight. Now, I broke up my train of thought before. Just a reminder, if you want to have any written submissions that become part of our agenda and even part of our minutes for these meetings, make sure you get the comments to the clerk. That way, in theory, you don't have to appear via Zoom, don't have to appear on a telephone or anything like that, but you can certainly have your say onto any of these comments, and they could also appear on the agenda on Thursday as well. So just letting you have an update on that one as well. Third of 4 items on our agenda is B21-09-8. It's an application for consent, 445 Springbank Ave. Here's our senior planner one more time, Andrea Hackler from the County Law.
Thank you. So this application for severance is to create an industrial parcel. And as council may recall, the first application that I presented tonight was for the southeast corner of Springbank and Parkinson. And this is for the lands to the south, which used to be part of that C4 parcel too. So what the applicant is proposing to do is create an industrial parcel and retain a parcel for similar purposes. Currently, the lot to be severed is used for truck parking. And actually, I probably have yep, here we go. So there's an aerial. So it's currently used for truck parking. And then the lot to be retained is currently used for a truck garage with an office and an accessory structure. Both lots will continue to be used for industrial purposes, and no new development is being proposed at this point in time. So basically the applicant is looking to sever the parcel just to create more flexibility for the sites going forward. So the subject lands, as I can, so through the agency circulation, the building department indicated that there appears to be two separate zones on both properties. And so one of the conditions of approval would be that the lands are rezoned so they have consistent zoning across them. Just for council's information, the reason why we do that is simply because a zone line is interpreted in the zoning bylaw as a lot line. And so if you have a zone line, then you construct any future buildings, you have to maintain a setback from each of those zone lines. So generally it's easiest to have consistent zoning across the board. The M2-3 zoning, just for council's information, has a special provision put into it that requires berming or some sort of fencing or screening for any sort of open storage along the 401. That's just from an aesthetic standpoint. And so a zone change will come forward to council in the future, but simply it would be to rezone the lands for consistency purposes. And then also we would maintain that buffering if there's open storage in the future. We would take care of that. And and then also we received a number of comments from the from the engineering department, and they're generally related to easements that would potentially need to be established for servicing purposes, as well as so for sanitary and water, but as well as stormwater. As you can see, there's a stormwater management pond in the northeast corner of the lot to be severed. And so the lot to be retained is intended to drain into that stormwater management pond. And so basically the engineering department has requested that the applicant provide a servicing and grading plan as a condition of the severance. And then it would be determined at that point in time what types of easements would be required. And we have the ability to establish those easements through that condition. And that would just clean up everything for any sort of future development and if those parcels were sold to separate owners in the future. So the application is in keeping with the provincial policy statement as it allows for redevelopment of underutilized sites. It's good to provide a range of employment uses. It's in keeping with the traditional industrial policies of the official plan, and staff are also satisfied that each parcel is in keeping with the zoning provisions that will be applied to the site. In light of that, we are supportive of the application and we recommend favorable consideration for the application.
Thank our senior planner, Andrew Hackler, for her report. Is there any members of the council that have any questions or comments on this application for our planner? Seeing none, maybe I got a question myself that's maybe more of a clarification than really a question, but maybe the worship Trevor Birch might be able to answer this question best. Where exactly is the city of Woodstock flag on that corner? Is it literally on the on that property, or is it west of there, the giant city of Woodstock flag? Because there would be no easement necessary for that, and as far as this severance goes.
I can actually answer your question, Councillor Schneidenberg. So actually that was in amongst the comments that were provided from the city engineering department. So you're correct. The flag is, actually I'll share my screen again. The flag is at the southern end of the lot to be retained. So it's down here along the 401. And so the city engineering department did request that the applicant provide an easement. And so it'll be determined whether it actually be like a specific part on a plan or if it becomes a blanket easement. But basically the engineering department indicated that they would appreciate access over that site to get to the flag going forward. And we've made the applicant aware of that, and they didn't seem to have any concerns with that.
Thanks for the answer. Any other questions or comments from members of council? There are no delegates registered to speak in favor, obviously, of this application. B21-09-8. At this point in time, I'd like to know if there's anyone who's registered to speak against the application that may be registered online to speak against this application. I don't believe there's anybody that registered to speak in favor of either, but anybody here to speak in favor of the application? And again, as has been said before, there's no decision made at this meeting here tonight. This next city council meeting is on Thursday at 1:30, May 20th, and the item will be on the agenda then. The final item for tonight's agenda is B21-12-8. It's an application for consent. This time the address, well, nearby as well to this 445 Spearmint Ave address, but this time the application for consent is for 414 Beards Lane. Senior Planner Andrea Hackley, if you can explain what this one's about.
Thank you. So this last application before council tonight is for an industrial, it's for the creation of an industrial lot. And basically what happened, and it's located at 414 Beards Lane. And basically what happened is the owner purchased each of these parcels and put them in identical ownership. And so they inadvertently merged on title. And so basically what the applicant is requesting through this application is to reestablish that lot line so that they can go forward in developing the sites. So the lot to be retained currently contains an industrial plaza, and the lot to be, and the intent for the lot to be severed is to establish an industrial plaza on that site as well. And so the application is, or the lands are designated traditional industrial. The proposal is in keeping with the traditional industrial designation, as they're proposing uses that would be in keeping with those policies. The subject lands are zoned special general industrial zone, which is a zone that is specific to the Commerce Way Business Park. And an industrial plaza also would be in keeping with the list of permitted uses. The other thing is that each of both the lots to be severed and retained would be in keeping with the general requirements for the M3-1 zone with respect to lot area and frontage and whatnot. The application was circulated to a number of agencies. The building department provided comments in support of the application and included a number of standard conditions of approval if the application is to be approved. And then the engineering department just simply indicated basically that they're aware that the lots were two separate parcels and they had merged, and so they were supportive of a severance going forward. We feel that the proposal is in keeping with the provincial policy statement, as it allows for continued use of the subject lands for economic diversity and creating jobs. It'll also provide for a mix of industrial type uses in the area. It's compatible with the area and it's in keeping with the traditional industrial policies. And in light of that, we recommend that this application also be given favorable consideration.
Thanks one more time for our senior planner, Andrea Hackley, and her report. Any questions from members of council for our planner? Questions or concerns or comments? Seeing none, there's no delegation that is registered to speak in behalf of their own application here this evening as well. So at this point in time, I'd like to know if there's any delegations who have registered to speak in favor, this time in favor of the application. Anyone registered to speak against the application here tonight? Anyone want to speak against it? That, by the way, is all 4 items on our agenda here this evening. We thank our senior planner, Andrea Hackley, for putting together her report. City Council meeting is on Thursday at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's on May 20th. As I've mentioned before, no decisions will be made at this public meeting here tonight, but of course will appear on the agenda for Thursday afternoon. Thanks for everyone's participation and everyone's being involved in this meeting here tonight. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Sandra Talbot and seconded by Jerry Accioni. All those in favor? We're adjourned. We'll see you on